pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball. Brad Lynch does it again and stays perfect for the 2008 season. 48 for 48 in save opportunities, and let the city celebrate.
Aloha and hello out there, everybody. What's going on? This is Miho from the Too Close to Call podcast series, and this is the Philly Fanatic series, and we are back on time talking 2 out of 3 from the Redbirds.
Hey-o! Let's go. We've been talking about this. Got to keep winning series and looking good for the first place Philadelphia Phillies.
And your boy, Nick Pivetta, back in the starting rotation. It's since been determined he's going to get another start against the LA Dodgers, so he's earned one more, at least, with his performance of 5 innings and 3 runs. But I'm going to be honest with you. The thing that I was most impressed with was Pivetta got dry humped early in this game. Do you know what I'm talking about there?
No.
So in baseball, as a pitcher, when you get loose to go into the game, you warm up all the way, and then the guy rolls a double play ball and you don't have to go into the game anymore. All of a sudden, you sit back down and you're like, well, I just got loose. Now my arm's going to feel like shit tomorrow anyway, and I didn't even, have fun. So, AKA, You got dry humped. The girl was on top. You were making out. It was high school. Maybe you were feeling a little bit of booby. Who knows what type of night it was.
Damn, your parents
and then
know.
she's like, oh, my friend's got to go. She's sick. Bye.
The worst.
The worst experience. So that actually happened to Nick Pivetta because of a rain delay. He had gotten loose. They were about ready to start the ball game, and then all of a sudden the skies opened up, so he had to sit down for a half hour, 40 minutes, and then get back up again, and that's tough to do. So you saw that in the first inning reflect in 3 runs for the Cardinals, but 4 zeros after that makes it a, dare I say, gritty performance by Nick Pivetta.
You're throwing in dry humpage, and then you're throwing in the fact that this guy has gotten called back up after being pissed off for getting sent back down, and he's been gone for 2 months. So for him to go out there and get the win, no matter how many innings he pitched, it's a good day for him.
How key do you think the fresh haircut was? Because my man had it short up there.
Look great, feel great, dominate.
Is that what it is? I dig it. So you did notice, or if you watch the game, Pags, I did notice that Nick seemed to be living in that 93 to 94 range and was a little bit more concerned about control as opposed to 96, 97 trying to throw it past hitters. Now, I don't think it worked to perfection because he was still not hitting his spot every time, but it was the first time I had physically seen him really try to put a huge amount of emphasis on, I need to hit the glove because it's not good enough at this level to just throw 97.
Man, he's a tough one. Just with all of the talking up he's received this preseason, and everyone's saying he's going to be the darling of the Phillies staff, he's going to make all these jumps into the tier of you can rely on this guy every time he comes out to the mound. So he has all that on him, and then he fucking sucks. So I'm glad he has the foresight to be like, okay, I need to change the way I'm pitching because this isn't working.
We shall see, because spoiler alert, him against the Dodgers does not line up well on paper.
We're coming to Cody Bellinger's town, and it's going to be interesting to see how many times that ball flies out of the park.
Yeah, and Peterson and Muncy, and they just roll out lefty power hitters, and Pavetta's just going to poop in his pants, in my opinion. But I hope he proves me wrong, so we shall see. But 3-0, as we mentioned, top of the first for the Cardinals, so the Phils have to work from behind offensively, and it happens in the 3rd and 4th innings where they get 2 spots each time.
We've always thought of this team as not really being able to come from behind, and it was nice to see them getting down 3-0 real early, right off the bat, first 3 batters, and then for them to come back, claw back, and get the bats rolling and get the win for their young pitcher, it's a good sign for things to come in the near future.
Harper, 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. He had the 2 RBI double in the third, followed by a Cesar Hernandez 2-run homer in the fourth to put him ahead 4-3 in the bullpen. And Nick Pivetta make it stand, and the Phils win the opener 4-3. And the offense with 8 hits, Cesar Hernandez, he continues to impress.
He's a professional hitter, like you said, with these guys we had on. We've already had one professional hitter, and then just sprinkling in all these other ones just makes Cesar even better.
That brings us to game 2, and what last year was my favorite day of the week, this year it's slowly becoming my favorite day of the week, and that is NOLA Day.
Hey, your prediction continues strong. 6-0.
NOLA not losing a game all year. That was the prediction. But for the first time, there were some encouraging signs here. Aaron did still have the 3 walks, which concerns you a little bit, but he got through that 7th inning. That was something early on. He was getting you 5+, 6+, but really not being able to finish his games like he did almost every time last year. So that was a nice thing to see. The 8 strikeouts, 100 pitches. Digging a little bit deeper into Nola's numbers, Pags, the guy had a 2.70 ERA in the month of May. So maybe coming around a little bit here?
That's what it looks like. It seems to be the weather change is Aaron's friend, and good because baseball's majorly played in warm weather.
Yeah, until the postseason, which is when you need them the most.
We need a warm October here.
That's it. Come on, Mother Nature. But J.D. Hammer, another scoreless inning. The only gentleman to get beat up again was your boy Nicasio.
Oh, God. There was like a little glimmer in my head that thought, can Nicasio literally blow this fucking game? And he did, which is good because the Phils had a 5th inning to put in the books. Harper comes up, doubles, gets 2 ribbies. Then Kingery hits a bomb, Franco hits a bomb, McCutchen hits a bomb, all within 10 minutes of each other and off Michael Wacha, which I don't know what happened to him because he was a stud back in the day, but he sure did not look himself in this 5th inning.
3 home runs and 4 batters with a walk in between, I believe. Wacha threw 40 pitches in 1 inning of work and gave up 6 runs where his ERA spiked all the way above 6. But the Phillies offensively, like you mentioned, super impressive in this one. They were up 11-1. So this was one of the few games this year where the Phillies have really walked away from the other team and kind of stomped on them while they were down, being impressively led by Andrew McCutchen, who was 1 for 1 with 3 walks on the day. So on base all 4 times, scored 4 runs. That's amazing out of your leadoff hitter. Gene Segura gets a hit because he always gets a hit. And Bryce Harper goes 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs. So that's 2 days in a row, Pags. We're talking very positively about what's going on with Harper.
It's nice to see with him. I mean, McCutchen's leading the league in walks. Guerrero's leading the league in first inning hits. This top half of the lineup, man, when they get rolling, it is tough to deal with.
You look down further, Cesar, a couple of hits. Scott Kingery having his name put in the lineup a little bit more often at quite a few different positions, but goes 2 for 5. He is still hitting .344 early on in his at-bats, but something that was never happening last year was him hitting .344 within a week's time even.
He seems like the guy they just like, oh, somebody needs a day off, Scott Kingery, go play that position. And now with the impending suspension of Odubel Herrera, we're going to need Kingery a lot more in the coming weeks.
That's an interesting thing to follow because Adam Hazley, former first-round pick out of Virginia, I believe it was last year, if not 2 years ago. It was very recent. But he was recently promoted from AA up to AAA and went 3 for 4 in his first game for the Iron Pigs on this recent road trip. The murmurs are that we may see some movement there even around the trade deadline because as much as I think the Phillies are okay with Scott Kingery in center field, I don't think they want Scott Kingery in center field. And Andrew McCutchen's been such a good left fielder that they don't want to play him in center field and put somebody else in left to where our only option may be Roman Quinn, who just can't seem to stay healthy, and Hazley out there. And if this kid stays hot, we may see him sooner than later.
young prospects that we were kind of disappointed with for a little while there are starting to figure it out. So things are looking good. And even at the trade deadline, if we want to move some of these guys, hey, so be it. Go for it all this year.
The Phillies looking to sweep the Cardinals in Game 3 after winning the first two. Unfortunately, Jared Eichhoff continues to give up the long ball. He has come back to earth after his first couple starts. His ERA all the way up over 4. However, 6 1/3, 4 runs. Is that really that bad for the number 5?
He had 2 runs in the 6th, and they decided to throw him back out there, and that's where he gave up the bomb. So he had a solid start coming up until Gabe left him out there at inning too long, which, considering our bullpen, Gabe has a tough job here with, do I leave the starter in who's grooving, but he's coming close to the end, or do I give it to our bullpen and be like, roll the dice here, people?
Listen to this bullpen who threw in this game, Pags. All 3 of these guys, not on the team at the beginning of the year. They got Garcia, the dude with the wipeout slider, who's been okay. J.D. Hammer, wild thing, if you've watched him. He's excellent. I think he's going to be this year's Sir Anthony Dominguez, a guy who you weren't counting on early on, was a gentleman who, if you were looking at the minor league system, was on the radar. But Double-A, see how he goes. Well, he lights it up there. Triple-A, 1 or 2 appearances. Oh, we got another freaking injury in the bullpen. Well, let's see how Hammer does. And he's mid to high 90s. He's got a funky little delivery. He does need to stay on top of the slider because when he comes around it a little bit, it does float. So I do anticipate him giving up a long ball or 2. But overall, he's been a plus, and I kind of want to see him in more high-leverage situations. He had 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. That's a couple of scoreless appearances in a row. And Yaxel Rios, who we've seen in the past, but basically just throws 98 with no idea where the hell it's going. So he's not a future big league arm, but he's probably going to be around for a while just because he throws so hard. But Mr. Hammer, man, I may need some high-leverage hammer in my life.
And he has one hell of a name. That is just one hell of a last name there.
Let me ask you this, though.
Hammer.
You're J.D. Hammer, and you got Wild Thing Charlie Sheen glasses.
Yes.
What do you think his walkout song is?
Not Wild Thing, is it?
It should be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a ballsy move by him.
Either that or MC Hammer. You either go with the Wild Thing or with the Hammer. I mean, it's right there in front of you to just knock out of the park. Well, he comes out in his second appearance here to "Everybody Dance Now." And I'm like, what is this? This guy's a clown.
That's a ballsy move as well. I'm not a hater of that song coming out to it. Hey, like you said, whatever mindset you need to get into, that's the song you pick.
You do you, JD, but offensively, man, 3rd time in a row, 3rd time's the charm. All of a sudden, we got ourselves a trend. Where do you stand on Bryce Harper's locked in? His batting average goes from 230-something to 252. He raised it 20 points in 3 games by going 8 for 12 in the series.
He's doing okay. Let's just simmer down here.
He's above 250, Pags. You got to ring the alarm here.
No, I'm not ringing any alarm. I am simmering down on these Philly talks because every fucking time we go, this guy's on fire, his season is turning around, they go and go to shit. I'm not doing it. Bryce Harper's doing okay right now.
It truly is incredible, though, how we're almost to June, and because the guy walks so often, his at-bats, not plate appearances, but at-bats, are so low that if he goes 8 for 12, he raises his average 20 points. Like if Gene Segura goes 8 for 12, it's going up 5 points, 7 points, because he never walks. So he's got like 50 more bats than Bryce Harper. And I was like, wow, this far into the season, he's hitting 250. If you wouldn't have looked and you looked today, not 3 days ago, you go, oh, he's hitting 250, he's fine. What the hell's everybody talking about? He's struggling. Like, what's the big deal?
I thought they were going to mount a comeback here. They had 5-1, bottom of the 8th. Walk by McCutcheon, single by Segura, single by Harper, single by Hoskins. All of a sudden, it's 5-3. And then the lineup kind of went to shit. Cesar pops out. Kingery strikes out. Real Muto comes in for Knapp, and he fouls out. Thought we were going to have another epic comeback here. End up losing 5-3. Fowler makes a ridiculous catch to end the game. I didn't even realize he caught it at first. And then all of a sudden he's running with the ball in his hand. And I was like, what the fuck?
The fan tipped it as well, but it still went into his glove, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Come on, guy. Knock that down.
Knock that ball down. It's
Unbelievable.
Like
but you teached it earlier. We got the top 2 teams in the National League facing off over the weekend in Los Angeles. 2 out of 3 packs?
I hope so.
No.
I'm going to go 1 of 3.
Oh, that's where my hope / expectation is, because these 2 teams on paper could not match up worse for the Phillies. The Dodgers have above-average left-handed starters, which the Phillies tend to struggle with. The Phillies are all right-handed pitchers in the mid-90s, while the Dodgers lineup is entirely constructed of left-handed launch angle human beings. It's just, it does not look like it's going to be strong. So if we go out there and get 2 or 3 or sweep, the expectation knob may have to pull a Spinal Tap, Pags, and get turned up to 11.
Oh, man, crank that shit up to 11.
Oh, well, this one goes to 10. This goes to 11. I don't know.
My expectations, I would say, take 1, don't get swept. If you take 2, great. But I'm right there at, yeah, you're going to take 1, and it might be tonight.
Let's line it up like you mentioned. 2 of 3 from the Cardinals, 1 of 3 from the Dodgers, 2 of 3 from the Padres, and we're 5-4 and back in the division.
Once we get into division play is going to be very interesting because the Nationals come back to life and wallop the Braves over the last 3 games. They're helping us out, but maybe they're getting a little hot here. So it might not be just a 2-team division race as we get closer to the summer.
A lot of games left to be played.
No doubt. Well, guys, that's our wrap-up of the Cardinals series. Phils take 2 of 3, heading into the West Coast battle. Phil's Dodgers, going to see Chase Utley do a little pre-game, post-game coverage of his old team.
Yeah, is he going to be on our side or their side? What color is he wearing?
I'm sure he's wearing blue. He's got the paycheck from the Dodgers, man.
That's what I'm saying. We'll see.
Where the money's coming.
Johnny Airport was teasing it like he'd be in red, so I don't know.
Oh, that would be tight. I would love that. But thanks for listening. We will catch you guys after this Dodgers series over the weekend. As always, share us to all your Philadelphia Philly fans out there. Get our word out there. Spread the word. We're covering every single game of the 162. And thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Later.
Peace.
The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball. Brad Lynch does it again and stays perfect for the 2008 season. 48 for 48 in save opportunities, and let the city celebrate.